Hello, and welcome back to Wildsunne Art Studio. My name is Robinsunne. Please do subscribe and comment and share and like this video if you do. So today, I've been working really hard on my black embroidery and my brown embroidery, and I just wanted to show you where I got to. So here is the black embroidery. Let's see if I pick it up. I mean, it's just really fun. When I was holding it like this, I just thought it looks like grasses in a big field, you know, blowing back and forth. So I think I like this. You'll notice that like right here, there's a little more black felt showing through. And right here, there's a whole lot more stitching. So this comes up whiter, this comes up a little darker, but look at this. This is the copy that came off, and this is just a regular print. Comes up with a white border. This is just a regular print. And I like it. So here's that sort of darker section, and here's that section that has a lot more stitching in it, so it comes up whiter. But there's just enough black coming through to give definition to the stitches. Like right here, it just looks like a mash of white. So what I was looking for in doing these embroideries is the texture of the stitches, but coming up on paper so that I can play like in journals or something with this. I printed this out twice because the first print came out, you know, like I'd set the piece up. When I first stitched this, I took a piece of cardstock. Oh, that's what's going on. Oh, silly me. All right. So let's do this. If I line the bottom of the paper up with the bottom of the stitching, and then I'll pull it down a little so you can see both. Look how much the felt has shrunk just because of the tension of the stitches. And I'm being pretty careful. I mean, I'm not stretching it, but I'm being pretty careful to not tug the stitches when I come through with the needle. But if I'm not going to stretch it, I need to be aware that this embroidery is going to come up smaller than 8.5 by 11 as I'm stitching it. And is that true? Yeah, that's true. This way too, you can see the stitching ends about 1/4 inch. All right, so there are a couple of things I could do here. I could put this embroidery on some sort of stretcher frame to make sure that I'm not pulling, that the tension on the stitches isn't shrinking the felt. So that's one idea. Another idea is that I could, usually what I do is I go in and trace with my little chalk liner, Choco liner, CHACO. So it's this cool little drawing tool that lets me, draw lines like this. Can you see that? So it just draws little chalk lines. And as I work on it, just the the motion of my hand makes the chalk break away. And it's great because you can't see it on the finished piece, which is nice. So I could trace this out and then trace it bigger, or I could just enlarge it, like I was thinking 110%, but maybe even 115 or 20%, 115%. I don't know. I'll mess around with it. But then I won't be copying just pure black felt on the edges, because the idea is to get the stitching to go as far to the edges as I can. So I wanted to experiment just a little bit with you, different ways of, where's my ruler, of tearing this. So this is against a ruler, and you get, I don't know, I mean, a pretty straight edge. It doesn't really look, torn or anything. So what if I tear a border that I could use in a journal, like against the edge of a page or something. And of course I could tear this as wide or as narrow as I wanted. So this is the edge that I was pulling up on, and you'll notice that the printing comes all the way to the edge of the paper, and the edge that was down that I pulled away from, you'll see that has this white edge there, which in this case of a black and white piece, so if I pull away from that, I now have white on both edges, which is kind of cool. So just to think about layering, I could zigzag stitch down the middle, take it to my machine and zigzag it to a piece of paper to put into, or on a page to put into a journal. So that would be cool. I also wanted to see what happens if I try to tear like a circle. Just to get that sort of lumpy edge. It's kind of weird, but I mean, just look at that lush texture. This came out just the way I want. If this is my result, then this whole experiment of stitching on felt, or you could do it on cloth, on anything you want, is workable, and it's yeah, this is just great. All right, let's find a book. So here is a journal that I did a little working on. So this is a piece of washi tape. That doesn't show up very well against the brown craft paper. That shows up just great, right? To bring it up to your eyes. So that's wonderful. But if I put it on a piece of lined paper, or used, you know, this as a border. I could tear off that little white edge at the top and make a border for my page. Little polka dot over there and a border over here. Yeah, this is working just great. I could also make, let's see, a pocket. This is what I call a 3-fold pocket because there are 3 folds. And I don't know if you can see, but I'm going to cut out that little corner so that I don't have a bulky corner. And then I would fold in the folds, doing the bottom last. So this bottom piece is right next to the paper of the page. It's a little easier to get a card in or something. So then I would glue, glue, glue. You know this. And could put a card in. It's kind of a deep pocket, but you get the idea. So that would look cool on a page, don't you think? And this could go, you know, on a card. This is really working out so wonderfully. Maybe not black and white in this particular journal because this particular journal has an awful lot of yellow and red in, and black and white doesn't make so much sense. But in a journal that could use black and white. And then, of course, if you're making a journal, if you wanted to do this and you're making a journal, you know, and your colors are blues or browns or reds or anything, you could, instead of doing this embroidery with white thread on black black felt, you could start out with blue felt and embroider with a paler shade of blue or something. Really, you can do this however you want, whatever your needs are. I'm so excited. I want to make a piece like this in every conceivable color setup. So blues and reds and yellows and greens, oranges too, purples, browns. Yeah, really just, and there are variations because you could have a red piece of felt on the bottom and you could embroider with yellow and orange and somewhat paler shades of red on top, so that the stitches actually showed up against the red felt. Or you could just do a piece of dark yellow felt with paler yellow stitching on top. You know, you could do one color of floss and one color of felt, or you could use 6 colors of floss and 1 color of felt. You could cut out shapes like circles and diamonds and stuff and put, oh yeah, possibilities are endless. And with the thought of the possibilities are endless, here is the feather that I was doing on brown. Let me see if I can hold this up to you. Do you see how there are sort of darker brown feather stitching going on underneath, and then kind of a yellow feather stitching on top. So you can see right here is kind of a dark strip. Right there is a dark strip where it didn't put a lot of yellow over the top. And as I began to sort of come to the end of this, I was thinking, is that okay with me that I'm going to have, these stripes of darker brown? So I went to the copier, and before I'd added the yellow, this is the copy that I got off of it. So you get a pretty good idea. I mean, you can really see where the feather stitching is. It's distinct as a feather stitch, especially over here. You can really discern the stitch itself. And then I copied it again, and I think my blue tone ink is out of balance. This is very yellow compared to this. I mean, just the brown felt underneath. This brown felt looks almost black, and this brown felt looks very close to tan. Not that close, but sort of. Anyway, it's different, and I think what's different about it is there was yet less blue ink in the machine when I did this copy. But you do get the effect of putting more of the pale yellow on top of the darker brown stitching. And I like this better because if you wanted to, I don't know, you could, put other things. Like what if I had a tag? What if I may cut a tag shape? I don't know. Like really 1,000 things. This could even be pages in a journal. You could fold it in half like that. And yeah. So the same thing, I could tear this and get little strips of. Anyway, I just think this idea is super, super successful. It is hours and hours and hours of stitching, but it's really spending time in prayer and meditation. So I love it. And I think it worked out really, really well. I highly recommend this as a way of making your very own pages. And you absolutely don't have to be a good embroiderer. My stitches are kind of wonky, and I love this herringbone because all the stitches are on purpose out of line. Basically, the only time I followed a line was just around the edge. Yeah, so you can go back to the 2 videos where I started these 2 pieces, and that kind of gives you the beginning part, of how to set yourself up. Oh, I'm so pleased. I'm so pleased. This is actually working, and paper like this that I can use in collage was what I hoped for. And this is just the cost of a black and white copy, and this is a color copy, but yeah, you can make as many as you want. You could make a whole journal out of stitched papers. Yummy, yummy. So thank you for hanging out while I go on wild adventures of what if. If I had a wish for you, it would be, for you and for me, that we keep asking what if, that we commit hours of our days and lives to prayer and meditation, and also to stitching. And yeah, just see what you can create out of your own imagination. It felt really good to do the stitching, and I'm so excited now that I have these papers. So I wish you all the courage you need to follow your imagination and, do wild and crazy things. So have fun, and I will see you next time. Bye.